Hello everybody and welcome to Let's Build live from Oak Hill Works. How are we all doing? I hope we are well. We're alive. Well, hey, microphone's working and everything. So yes, it's the Chatham carriages again. No, Southeastern carriages. Because they predate the Southeastern and Chatham. I'll get that right one day. One day. Who knows when. So, yes, welcome. Tonight's task will be to get this to join these three. And, well, there's some bits to do to this one still, because obviously we only painted it last week so we could pose them all together for a photo. Because we're like that. Actually needs more filler. Should have done that first, but I wanted to be able to put them all together. So yes, hopefully by the end of the night they'll have those three. Another one just there at the front. Definitely looks right there. And combined with the P-Class, they'll look pretty good. Let's go nicely next to my Rake of 4 Brighton four-wheelers. So obviously last time we started on the birdcage, on what service will this little rake be used? This will be used on the Oak Hill branch services that run from Oak Hill down the branch to Groombridge and then back out to the southeastern station at Tunbridge Wells on the Tunbridge Wells main line. The southeastern main line, where it will adjoin with services heading to London and the coast. It's just about as much as P-Class can pull off. What civilised cross-country trundle. Indeed. For those unaware, Oak Hill sits where the village of Penshurst is in real life. So you come down from Oak Hill, from what is Penshurst, and through Fordcombe to Groomsbridge, and then back across up to Tunbridge Wells. Especially for passengers in first class. I mean, obviously, only the best for the first class. Penshurst, interesting, my great uncle used to live there. Huge. He has a huge rambling house. There are a lot of big houses there. It was the only place I could find that would fit everything I wanted from Oak Hill. But of course I had Oak Hill before I'd come up with that, so it was otherwise I'd probably be called Penshurst Model Railway, but there we go. Remember visiting there with fondness. Excellent. I am glad you have good memories of the place that I have adopted for my fictional town. So yes, because as I say, this one still needs filler, we are going to start. These joins at the back here, they are really bad. I'm going to start by chucking some filler on them. And I could have got away with not painting that side, and I should have not painted that side really. But there we go. One can't complain at the delights of either Oak or Hills. Well, very true, James, very true. And good evening, Mr. Mole. I see you've updated your profile picture on YouTube as well now for your channel rebrand. Thank you for the links, and how are you this evening, sir? I hope you are well. So yeah, we're going to start by putting some filler on, because then the filler has time to dry and we can try and get it down again later. And then we'll file this down and apply any filler that this one might need. You get the idea. So I'm going to squirt some of that out onto the wooden part of the workbench. No, there's no filler. I've not actually added any commands. I think I was supposed to, but I haven't. I'm sure there was one I was definitely adding, and I actually never got round to it. PPE was one of them, but we came up with one that we even came up with a response for it, and I can't even remember what it was now. I may actually have to go back and watch the end of last week's stream. Screwdriver and applicator novel. Yes, I keep meaning to get a proper applicator for this, but until I do, a flathead screwdriver does the trick quite well. What would a proper applicator be? Well, Squadron, the company whose filler I am currently using, actually do sell an applicator for applying filler with a shovel end like I get from using the screwdriver at one end, and I believe a finer point at the other end. Oh yeah, that needs a little bit down the bottom as well. But other than that, this side actually isn't too bad. Currently scorching my fingers with a white metal van kit. Oh, fun. I find I can deal with the temperature of white metal soldering most of the time. And then we need to make up some fillets for in here at some point. But they will not be happening right this second. Maybe later once the filler's had time to set, and we're not going to ruin it by sticking our fingers in it. And I'm hoping James approves of not ruining the filler that we just put on the carriage. Nearly said loco there. It's going okay, just had to undo one side end joint. As once I'd fitted all the detail, I noticed it wasn't quite lined up right. Ah! That is not good, Linny. Not good at all. I definitely approve of not ruining filler. Not ruined filler is the best type of filler I find. I agree, James. It is definitely the best type of filler. Not looking forward to the lettering either. No, I can't say I blame you. That one is so long, I often get halfway through saying it and forget the rest of it. So yes, this one is definitely going to need more filler on some of the joins. So we're going to get this filed down, get more filler on it, and see how quickly it will set for us. Why does no one make a file? The handle comes in at an angle and you can use it like that. That is what I really want from a file. If someone makes a file that does that, you will get all my monies. The wagon belongs to the HB and WRJR and D Co. See, I know it, but the end of the file you're holding is rounded. No, it's a flat file. There is no edging on this that I could use. What I need is to be able to hold it like this and have a flat bit coming out. It might point in, but the sides are smooth. You don't have edging on your files. Not on this one. I don't know about the others. I've not had this set of files long enough to explore them all yet. My old ones had them, but I found it wore away very quickly because of how thin it was. Mine have teeth on one side. Yeah, my old ones all did. But they lost it very quickly. My old ones were Gauge Master ones. These ones are eBay specials. And as the bot and the Linny say, remember to smash that like button. And whilst you're down there, if you're not already, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you get alerted when I go live or upload a video. And all those other good things. And if you're not enjoying what you're seeing, then please stick around to the end and then smash that dislike button. But make sure you do stick around to the end first so that you can make an informed decision. Because it would be very unfair to only watch the first 15 minutes and then smash the dislike button. Should have to form the Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Like Buttons. But like buttons like people smashing them. It is their purpose in life. Like being pressed, not so much smashed. They like being pressed until they're smashed. If it hasn't been smashed, it hasn't been pressed enough. And it is your duty as a YouTube viewer to help that like button fulfill its destiny of being absolutely smashed. At least that's my excuse. What's wrong with being gentle? One should treat like buttons like kittens. Definitely be gentle to kittens. Do not smash kittens. That is my top tip of the day. No, there's some angle on this one, but not enough. Kittens greater than like buttons. I agree. And good evening, Christopher. Welcome. Only having the one beer, I'm not getting smashed. Now, you see, Paderborn, it's been so long since I've even had the one beer, I wouldn't give out that guarantee. If anyone fancies buying me a beer, then my Patreon can be found at patreon.com/OakHillModelRailway. Yeah, this one with its slight angle that I can use is definitely better. I want all my files to have this slight angle. So it is very warm, and in fact still sunny here in southern England today. What's it like for everyone else? Do tell, is there somewhere I can move to where it's nice and cold? Lenny, you're in Scotland, what's it like? London's been a tad cloudy but mild. Oh, well, that's better than here. It has been bright sunshine all day here. And the sun pounds through the window that's behind that fake wall in the evenings, which makes this room extremely warm. Even with the fake wall blocking it. Sunny and hot today. I'm not a fan of sunshine. Not this much. It's been too sunny. We need some rain. My garden is still... There are parts of my garden, anyway, that are still very yellow from being cut over a month ago. 14 degrees here and wet. Oh, that sounds wonderful right now, Linny. Hang on. It is 19 degrees here right now. Which is a bit much for this time of night. How much is the ideal amount of sunshine in Garyland? Something blocking it out at some point in the month. I mean, that's the outside temperature though, James. So I say I get the sun beating down on that window. It's a lot warmer than that in here. Which is a good reason to remember, everyone. Hydration is important. Had the lawn sprinklers going for the boy to run through. Oh, very nice. I do not have lawn sprinklers because I don't look after my lawn that well, to be honest. Big chunk of filler there, that can just come off with a knife. So this one definitely has parts that will need more filler. Well, I say that, this bit's coming out much better than I expected it to. I must say, I'm rather impressed with this Squadron filler. It's very good stuff. Highly recommended. I got it because the stuff I normally get wasn't in stock. Lawn, goodness me, that sounds high maintenance. It's definitely too high maintenance. Needs replacing with a shed. Good part of it is getting replaced with a shed, to be fair. How's it compared to Milliput? I've not tried Milliput, so I can't answer that. Good evening, Simon. How are you? I hope you are well. Another big chunk of filler here. That much filler can come off with the knife. Robot mows it and the sprinklers come on automatically at night. Oh, very nice. It's alright for some, innit? My daughter mowed my lawn last, so that at least saved me doing it. But it's not really enough to invest in a robot mower. It's only a 40-foot garden, thereabouts. I approve of sheds. What can get good layouts in a shed? Yeah, but I'll be using my shed for storage. And once it's up, then we'll have the proper recording studio for the live streams and get this lot out of my living room. So I'm well, hope you are too. I am doing not too bad, thanks, Simon. Not allowed more than one shed. I live on the side of a nature reserve. Theoretically, I should allow the wild boars and the deer to wander through. I mean, I'm going to be honest, that sounds quite cool. Do they count how many boars and deer there are? Because barbecue. Layouts are indeed greater than storage, but needs must. My things need to live somewhere. And at the moment they live somewhere that would be much better served as a recording studio. After a while, boar walks across the lawn, it looks like it's been ploughed. Definitely barbecue then. Oh yes, I forgot this stuff was really, really brittle. That just snapped. I think it's alright. Tell you what, this piece has actually come out a lot better than I thought it was going to. How much layout could you fit in your recording studio? Not much. In all honesty, James, you've seen the size of my workbench. It takes up a good portion of what will be the recording studio. Yes, that has come out much better than I was expecting. I apparently missed a bit though. This is all a bit broom cupboard. Larder actually, rather than broom cupboard. That's better. You'll keep the milk there too then? No. No, I will not. The milk can continue to live in the fridge. I have no use for a larder. Yeah, that's all come out much, much better than I was expecting. I'm not sure it is going to need lots more filler. There's a big dip here I could see that I thought was going to need more. But I think it was just where the filler was packed so high. I think that's alright, you know. Just think how many layouts you could fit in your fridge if you didn't have any milk. I need milk. It's important in my coffee. Yes, I do believe these have cleaned up rather well. Ideally, they would now get a blast of primer to show up anywhere that is still lumpy. Of course, as has been discussed before, I need more primer. So we're actually going to leave those. We're not going to put any more filler on them until we know they need more filler. So we're going to get back on with the brake end, get the other end out the pot, get it built. And yes, James, you are quite right. Hydration is important. Of course, a solution to the primer problem would be if I had the recording studio in the recording studio. Because in there shall be an area that is A, big enough, and B, well ventilated enough to set up my airbrush. And what I do have is primer that is thinned for an airbrush. I just don't have any that can be done right here, right now. God, that's my 4th song reference, and it's only 9:30. Good evening, Heritage Railway Productions. How are you today? I hope you are well. I do believe this blade is getting a bit blunt. But that's okay, we have a couple more. God, always believe in your soul. One day I'm worried that I'll forget I'm streaming and I'll actually sing properly and not just taking the mic. So far that has not happened. We all look forward to that day. No, you don't. I make no promises that my actual singing is any better than my messing around singing. See how we're not tearing the paper now? That's because we have a nice sharp blade. Honestly, I don't know if you could see that the paper was tearing beforehand. But I assure you, this nice sharp blade is making a very big difference. I am very well, thank you. Hope you are well as well. I am, thank you, Heritage Railway Productions. You may understand. We're all looking forward to doing this. No, I knew what you meant, James. I knew what you meant. I approve of sharp blades. Indeed, they are rather fantastic. Gosh, that is intricate cutting. Would a spot of laser cutting not have been easier? A spot of laser cutting would be much easier. What would be even easier would be the birdcage ends available as castings from Roxy Mouldings. But you don't expect me to do things the easy way, do you, James? I mean, look at that lovely thin cut I've got there. Okay, it's a bit bent right now, but once that's glued on and straightened out... Just fancied the challenge. Indeed! I like to show it's possible. But I can actually move you down closer, and you can probably see what's going on a bit better. But also, I'm quite good with a freehand blade. Gosh, so intricate, wouldn't a 3D print have been good here? Again, yes, a 3D print would be great, but if I was 3D printing, or laser cutting for that matter, I wouldn't start with the ratio coaches as the base for this. I would do a full kit so the beading on the sides of the carriages is right. I'm not a freehand sort of person, anything unnormalised and irreversible is very hard. This is why I like computers. Oh, well, nothing is irreversible. Have you seen my collection of plasticard? If this goes wrong, I'll just make another one. And there's always glue. I say, it always amazes me that I can do stuff like this with a knife. And I can cut out nice intricate little details. I can cut everything extremely fine and extremely straight. But I can't line with a paintbrush. But being able to cut things out like that, I'd expect I would be able to. What happens when you try? The lines get very wobbly. I don't think I have any examples of my freehand lining anymore. It's very straight indeed, yes. If you tried a bow pen, I have. And unfortunately, I have sanded the bow pen practice I did on the workbench off. I do think a bow pen is the way forward for me being able to line things free-handed rather than a paintbrush. But I'm definitely not there yet. Some people use rulers. Yeah, rulers are for the weak. What is your view on lining transfers? They're absolutely fantastic. I love them dearly. By weak, do you mean wise? Quite possibly. But I also mean for people that can't cut nice, thin, straight lines like that. I don't have a loco to hand with lining transfers on it. How very strange. But yes, lining transfers are great. I love them very much. But I would love, much more than that, to be able to line completely freehand. Because of course, once I can line freehand, I can line any loco I want in any livery I want. I lined a P-class with lining transfers a few months ago. It's easier than intricate carriage lining with beading. Indeed, and that is another thing I would like to be able to do freehand, is carriage lining. When I was upgrading the Stroudleys, I did take a couple of attempts at lining them and it did not go very well. One of them still has an early attempt at lining on these two panels here. There we go, you can see it from there. I've obviously not wiped that bit off. But yeah, secret's out now that they're only actually done on one side. I'm not sure how one would do carriage lining with beading with transfers. This with transfers or a brush doesn't look too bad. It was a brush, a bow pen, and a paint pen were the methods I tried. That doesn't look too bad. No, that's the bit that survived. So that's obviously one of my better bits, but it's all inside the beading, which is wrong. It should be on the edge of the beading. There we go. It's all cut out. Were the others wobbly? Yes, very much so. Lining the edge of the beading sounds hard. Indeed, I did try it, but I don't think it would have been on this carriage as well. I don't think any of it survived. No, it didn't. But of course, another problem is if you look at the beading, the lining in the waist panel, leaves us very little room. And of course, that's where the class designations go, and they really do fill up that space. So it would have been no good. You can even see the number from there. That number in the middle there, that's the two-digit number. That makes this number 71. Those are individual transfers, that 7 and that 1, that had to go inside the garter transfer. Yeah, very teeny. And on the brake coaches, James, go on, focus. It doesn't want to focus. On the brake coaches, it's 3 digits. There we go. That's 929 in there. That was not fun. Right, let's lift it. Must say I'm not looking forward to numbering the 6 carriage set. Well, I did it, so have fun. Need to peel all the paper off here now, otherwise it will get stuck permanently. The line difficulties may suggest that the Hatton's carriages might be good sellers. I would expect that will be one of many reasons they will be good sellers. And I wish Hattons every luck with them as well. I think they're a fantastic idea. I should point out too, so the transfers I use, here's the transfers for my Stroudley carriages that I use. That's the numbers down the bottom there. Are from Wooden Wagon Works, which makes them 25 years old at least. So they're not even nice, modern, freshly made transfers. They're old, worn, got on eBay, cheap transfers. I'm trying to work out where my underground layout and whether I might want 1, 2, 3 or no rakes of Hatton's carriages. I mean, I was originally going to get 2 rakes of them. Those are teeny, gosh, and they've survived that long, yes. And I know they're that old because that's when Eric sold Wooden Wagon Works and it stopped existing. Oh no, I broke it. I knew that was going to happen. But it's fine, honestly. Are you no longer going to be buying Hatton's carriages? Well, I was going to get 2 rakes, and the reason I was going to get 2 rakes is I was going to get a rake of Brighton's and a rake of Southeastern and Chatham. But I now have a rake of Brighton. In fact, I've got enough Brighton carriages that I definitely don't want any more of the. I don't want any of the generic ones. Because, you know, obviously I do need more, but I've got enough and know enough ways of getting and making them that I can get better than the Hatton's ones will be. So I was going to get the Southeastern ones, but I only actually need 1 rake of Southeastern 4-wheelers. Good evening, Michael McCarville. Welcome. How are you this evening? I hope you are well. So we're only needing 1 rake of Southeastern 4-wheelers. You heard me correct myself, Linny. Yeah, we're only needing 1 rake of Southeastern 4-wheelers, and the fact that we're now building up that rake on here, I can't really justify that set either. Not be wanting any of my six-wheelers then. I will. They're not your six-wheelers are not four-wheelers. See? Your six-wheel push-pulls are not something that could be represented by the Hatton's carriages. Ha. Sure you could if you tried. Well, I mean, the justification would be that they are a rake from the original Oak Hill to Groombridge Railway Company from before, from when the line opened, essentially, because it operated independently for only a few months. That were still in, you know, that had been taken over by either the Brighton or the South Eastern. So that would be my justification for them. That was to be my justification for them. So it was indeed all planned out. No, don't go throwing that over there. Hang on, push forward. I'll talk about LBSC and South Eastern. You're the way I'll be getting more carriages, Linny. Once you're able and up to producing. That justification still exists. It does, but not alongside other rakes. I might get some Midland ones for the Midland project, but it depends on when they come out. Because although the Midland project's now being held up by lockdown, once I can get over to pick up the boards that have been donated to me for that project, it can pick up again. And I really don't need much in the way of coaching stock for the layout that is planned for that. There we go, there is our beading attached to the end. Midlander batch 2, I think. I believe you are right. There we go. One end wall. What is the Midland layout plan? Is there a track plan anywhere? There is not yet a track plan, but in my second Midland video I did discuss how I plan the layout to be. There's not a solid track plan yet, but there's an idea in my head as to how it will look. So the next thing this end needs is a buffer beam. and we shall, as we did for this end, get our buffer beam from one of the ends of the carriage. There we go, that deep enough for you to follow that line instead of the one going off up the top. And there we have an end. So liquid track plan, gaseous one, nebula. It's sort of plasma at the minute. Because of course there are not only 3 states of matter, no matter what the British education system wants to tell you. Hydration's important. So that buffer beam will attach to that end like that. Good evening, Richard. I am well. How are you? I hope you are too. And there we go. That carriage now has 2 sides and 2 ends. It's progress, Jim. So the next thing we need is this bit, which is the front of the bird cage, which will go on the roof like so. Here's one I made earlier. Can I have my Blue Peter badge? Good, thank you. Currently trying to sort bits I had to sort out from Hobby J83. They were on my desk, but they don't seem to be there now. Ah, that's never good when that happens. Hopefully they turn up. We don't want you, we want the 20 foul. It's not hidden down that side as well, is it? It is. So I know it. And look, there's one I cut earlier. So what we're going to do here, cut this out, double-sided tape, stick it on here. Cut that out, and that is all the parts we need to manufacture. God, that's almost feeling like we're close to doing something here. They only give the badge out to children, Franco. Don't think you would qualify. Should have Blue Peter badge. I know you meant Blue Peter badges, it's okay. And that's a shame that they only give them out to children. I at least qualify mentally. Does that count for anything? Right into Blue Peter. Dear whoever the host of Blue Peter is these days, here's some choo-choos I made from Gary Age. There's a free in it somewhere, I think. Do you think I'll get a badge back? So there is that stuck on there. All we need to do now is cut it out. I say that as if it's simple, don't I? Right, there's a little bit on that edge to clear up. Because after the first cut, the knife decided it wanted to take a slightly different route. But it's fine. And there we go, there is our birdcage front. Obviously, it needs the 4 window sections cut out, but they should be not too bad. Because they are short enough and we're dealing with thin enough plastic that the ends can just be cut with downward pressure. And then, of course, it is just a case of cutting out the top line without destroying everything. I always find that without destroying everything is the best way of doing these things. Splendid birdcage, and all you need is some birds. Indeed, James, it could use a few birds in it, couldn't it? Hope not too expensive, they should be going cheap. But yeah, exactly, Alex and James. It is clearly pun hour. Oh, look, there's the bot trying to promote Patreon. He likes promoting things, does the bot? So I saw someone on Facebook the other day, in quite specifically in a YouTube group, saying they will not watch anyone who has a Patreon or accepts donations because they are, and I quote here, begging for money and saying, if you don't pay me, I won't produce this content. So I would like to make it clear that I have a Patreon because I was bullied into it by a viewer. But at the same time, if there are people out there who do have the attitude of pay me or I won't produce content, I'm not going to hold that against them. I know how much this costs to do on top of the modelling. So yeah, I am. As I say, I don't expect anyone to sign up to my Patreon, and I did only get it because I was told I should repeatedly. By someone who, very true to their word, did then sign up for the Patreon straight away afterwards. But yeah, don't. If people are out there genuinely with that attitude, don't hold it against them, please. People that stupid likely barely watch streams anyway, and I know lost to the stream. No, I quite agree. But as I say, you know, for if you do watch anyone who genuinely does say that this is my Patreon, please sign up and stuff, and like I make this content for money, don't hold that against them. Whilst it's not my goal, if I could do this as a job, I would. And trust me, this in no way will ever be a job. But if it ever would be, it wouldn't be from YouTube ad revenue. It would require something like Patreon. And I'm sure there are people out there that do want this to be their job. And that's only going to happen for them if they have people donating. I have no problems donating to YouTubers, whether it's to help with their channels or for charity. Don't hold anything against those that don't. It's always up to the individual. Exactly, Simon. That is exactly the right attitude. And I'm glad you mentioned charity, because that is something that is coming to the channel with the Midland project. That was mentioned briefly earlier. Yeah, that's where we want it. That is where we cut. I approve of charity, especially the Against Malaria Foundation. I approve of charity, many of them. There are several charities I donate to every month, and I have no intention of stopping. This is some good meter block razor saw action. It would be better if the blade was slightly thinner, because that probably shouldn't be able to support the weight of the whole saw just from the pressure there. No, not quite. It's not far off being able to hold the blade up just off one end of it. Which is a shame. My old blades were fine for that, which are the X-Acto ones. This is an Expo one. And just the top along here is slightly thicker. Right, there is that. So now we need to X-Acto greater than in X-Acto. Well, yes, that is true. That is very true. I need masking tape again. I've got the masking tape here still. And I need the ruler, because I need to measure stuff. That's not where I want it to be, is it? See, it's been so long since I've used a ruler that I've just measured an extra 5mm. And by so long, I mean I used one earlier today. This one, in fact. For what, you ask? Watch Tuesday's video and find out. Hopefully, I'll get it recorded before Tuesday. For me to block somewhere out of aluminium, came in a modelling kit, almost the same saw as you, and it's only the depth of that saw to the spine. Ah, that would be handy. These very much came separately. I don't even know if this has a brand name on it. It does not, but I picked this meter block up from Squires at the Uckfield exhibition, Model Railway exhibition last year. Right, now I need my pen, which is sat on the narrow gauge. Giving away what Tuesday's video is here, aren't I? Uckfield, yes, there is the Uckfield Club website. The Uckfield exhibition link doesn't work anymore, so I've turned that. In fact, the link would work, but I've turned the command off. Hydration is important. Evidently, it is provisionally the 17th and 18th of October this year at Uckfield Civic Centre. Saturday and Sunday, 10 AM till 5 PM. Adults £7, children free. But at the moment, it's still obviously possibly not happening. So you know when it's due to happen, and I can tell you everything is booked for it. But we can cancel everything as late as the end of July without facing any issues. So come the end of July, I'll know for definite whether it's happening or not. And that is 34mm, which puts the middle just there. And from that line we want to go down 13 on either side. And we should find that that lines up quite nicely. Of course, the problem is I don't think I can repeat that there. I don't think I even tried before, and I think I ended up cutting at an angle. I think there might be some filler being applied to this. But the good news is, if I completely mess it up, I've got another one. And I've got one with a different layout of vents. Oh, and I've got another break. So I've got plenty. I'm not too worried about messing them up. No, punching the camera. We did modifications to prevent punching the camera. So this is why you need a storage head. You need a storage head to hold your massive collection of roofs. I mean, it's all various parts for these carriages. Look, there's a whole brake side there. There's some chassis, but that'll be the chassis for this brake coach. But there's all sorts of parts of them in there. So yeah, I do indeed need a shed to hold my stash of ratio four-wheeler bits. Although the boy has more than me. Just saying. No, we're fine. We're not going to need any filler or a replacement. It is going to be really difficult to stick this on though, because it did snap. So there is a chance of needing another one of these. But I reckon we'll be fine. So what we want to do to this roof is to stick this bit round here on the front with both parts, and then we will have a roof that looks a bit like this. And then we'll make some modifications to the chassis, and that will leave us in a good position to put this carriage together. And as we are currently halfway through the stream, I think we're doing quite well for our target of trying to get this one together. So there is half a bird cage. So I approve of doing well. One of the permutations of my planned underground layout involves SCCR carriages. Yes, I did read through the chat you and Alex were having the other day with great interest. I liked that idea. Half a bird cage, perfect for storing half a bird. Of course. But yeah, I quite liked the idea of the condenser fitted H-class and such forth that you were discussing. Which ideas? There are currently lots of ideas. Your what if the Southeastern and Chatham didn't stop serving it in 1916? Half a B philosophically must ipso facto half not be. Is this not abandoned the Wyden lines in 1916? Yeah, that one. That's the one. I thought that was a very interesting sounding idea. Right, I think I'll be able to stick that with how much bending I've done. So, what's everyone else up to this evening? Tell me. Does half a beehive contain lots of half bees or half the normal number of complete bees? I'm assuming half the normal number of complete bees. But there's only one way to find out. That idea leads to all sorts of considerations. The SCR, that is, not the bees. Why not both? For example, what would have happened when the lines were electrified? Ah, good point. There we go. Complete front of bird cage. And you'd never know it had snapped. There's a nice curve on there. I spent most of the evening trying to work out widened lines things and getting a headache. Normal electric stock probably wouldn't have fitted the widened lines, so would the Southern then have abandoned it. It does look impressively. I was like, oh, that's a good point, James, that is. I'd not considered that. We want to take it off this end. Yes, we want to take it off this end, and there's a reason for that. There is method to one's madness. And it's the bump and the anti-bump. Perfect. Sort of. Should have done it by the sides, not the roof. Widened lines things do tend to be manifold in complexity. Trying to implement James's suggestions in SCARM. Plain track plans, fun. Should be intrigued to see the results of this. I also will be. I had a request for an HO version of a streetcar. I think you know which one. Yep. Track diagrams of Aldersgate, mainly as the OS maps, obviously only show the uncovered sections of track. What I'm actually doing is tinkering with train control on my N-gauge layout. Excellent. Just finished off Metcalf school, worked out how to film the soldering. Now going to use different camera, although no sound because the mic is rubbish on it, to record the sound separate. Fair enough. I have been known to record sound separately to video for some of my videos before, Simon, so you're not alone there. That's knocked it. Yay, we're there. We're there. Separate recording sound is how all the old British transport films were made, and many like them in the day. Indeed it is. Also some legal have to feel for that Pullman drawing that's proving fun. Oh yes, legal stuff is always fun. Fun with a capital F. It's all photo vets, Blackpool, tram, streetcar at Havant, goods yard, plan to run Haley Island. Oh, that is very interesting. Very interesting indeed. Terriers versus tram was post terrier group trying to keep the line open. Ah. Interesting stuff. Good evening. Welcome, welcome, welcome. How are you today? I hope you are well. Welcome to the live stream. That's going to slide all over the place. As soon as I move that in there, I can feel it already because it's got nothing to hold it in. So I'm not even going to try. This is why I have to edit out the bad language, there's no doubt there will probably be some. That's a good point, Simon. Although I've tackled that one, I've learnt. And good evening, J94. Welcome. You join us just as my chatbot wants to promote my Instagram. Because of course it does. I definitely advise following my Instagram. I totally don't only post on it on a Sunday to remind people of the live stream. So yes, good evening our new viewers, welcome. I'd like to remind you all, hydration is important, please do grab a drink. I'm good, thank you, been busy today, extending my Engage layout. Excellent! I do like a good layout extension. More layout is, I find, the best kind of layout. Right, the next part of this bash is the bit that's going to be interesting. Because whilst we now have the floor for the chassis, nice coaches, thank you J94, this is my slowly building up Rake. I say slowly, it's only been a few weeks. We've got 3 done and 4 here. So 4 will be very similar to this one, which still needs a roof for its birdcage section, but is to be a 3 compartment rather than 2 compartment. And we have just reached the point where we have 2 ends, we have 2 sides, we have a roof, and we now have the chassis floor. What we need to do now is shorten these bits. Extended by 5 foot. Excellent. That's a lot of engaged space. Car, yeah. I have 00 layouts that are smaller than your extension. That's excellent. I definitely approve of that. So yeah, the problem, whereas like with the roof and the floor and stuff, we've been able to just cut the end off. We need to remove the middle of this to get it to the right size. Because of course, we don't want the axle boxes moving away from the edge. So I'm going to use the super scientific method of cutting that end off. We can actually place this bit into the holes designed for it. Get back in the holes. Holes say no. Oh, James, with your puns again. Pun hour clearly has not ended. Fine, if you won't go in, we'll just measure you like this. So we've been very scientific about this, as you can see. This is where we want to cut it. I hope my science was accurate. Oh yes, perfect. Absolutely perfect. In fact, I'm going to switch over to the knife blade and just run that round to get rid of most of the flash. Where are we in chat? They love my engage. We'll see an update soon, Rachel. Very happy number of engaged fans this evening. I thought you would be, James. Yes, I will do an update very soon. Excellent. Updates are always good. Give you tons of running space, Rachel. All the best. Best science is accurate. That is true, James. That is true. Right, the footage. Love it already. Excellent. These are the things we like to hear. And I do approve of a good layout update. Especially one that involves extensions of epic proportion. And thank you for the subscription. That is very much appreciated, Rachel. Hydration needed. Okay, Simon. Go and hydrate. It is very important. So now if we stick those together, they will be the right size. Yay! He did a thing properly. He says, hopefully. I do like it when my subscriber whistle goes off midway through a live stream. It makes me feel really good, that does. But any time the whistle goes off, regardless of what the alert is. Oh good, next door are arguing. Hopefully you can't all hear that. If you can, I do apologise. Such a while back, Gary, maybe a week ago, I think. I can't remember. You did. It came up in my notifications. Thank you. It's weird. I get 3 different places I can see subscriber notifications, which is one in Streamlabs, which is supposed to pull it from the YouTube notifications. It doesn't. Then there's the YouTube notifications, and then there is a latest subscribers panel in the YouTube studio. Now, I don't know about other YouTubers, but for me, all 3 of those are different. Because of course they are. And there we go. We now have soul bars of the correct length. And yes, thank you, Rachel. For anyone that hasn't already, there is a like button there for you to hit. The like button does love being hit, contrary to what other people may tell you. There we go, we got there in the end. Like button likes to be gently petted like a kitten. Sometimes it likes to be gently petted like a kitten. But the point is, it loves attention. As does the subscribe button for anyone that isn't subscribed already. And Alex loves his brick. It's okay, Alex, we know you love your brick. So now we come back to that very, very exact science. That is totally science. And that's where we're cutting. And of course, yes, we need some gold. As always, believe in your soul. I like that song. I'm glad you like that song. It's a very good song. And there is a very good reason it has a command on here. They look the same length to me. That's always good. That looks right as well. I think we've done it. That's not straight. That's better. Much better. Oh, and there's the bot advertising the donation link. I can't wait till we can put the charity command on there. That'll be so great when we can. So we give that a second to dry and we should be there. So this one's going to go on this side because that's the holes I've got for it, which means this one's going to go this side. So we want to lose the pegs at this end. And this one just in the middle here. And it somehow ended up ever so slightly too long. And that just won't do. Because of course if it's too long, then the wheel will be at an angle. That's better. Off we go, guys. So, okay. Thanks for popping by, J94. I hope to see you again soon. So yes, since we've got more viewers now, what is everyone up to? Do tell. I do like to know what my viewers are getting up to. It's always really interesting to hear about your projects. So what is going on in the land of, well, everyone? I'm going to get some hydration. Still trying to work out now the sensible routing and train control of the complex station freights. Fun. Fun, fun, fun. That's better. Now we can glue these to the bottom and get them actually secure. No, don't fall out. You're supposed to be sort of dry enough that I can move you around and make sure you're sticking together properly. Still trying to work it, thinking I need to read my Widen Lines books properly. The MR goods operation at Aldersgate makes no sense to me. It's a goods operation, it probably didn't make any sense. There we go, we got it out. There was a thing in there. That's the proper, correct technical term, for those wondering. But yeah, I assume it makes no sense because it's a goods working. I struggle with them too. We have something that resembles a chassis. There are 55 minutes left and we have something that resembles a chassis. We could manage this. We could have this built up by the end of the stream. I'm going to leave that over to the side. And we're going to file this down whilst it solidifies. You know what, there's a lot on there that can just come off straight with a knife. I have been known to go a bit overboard on filler at times, but that's fine because you take it all back off. I do very well approve of a chassis. Excellent. Glad to hear it, Javier. Talks about the trains setting back, and there was a signal on the platform specifically for setting back, but I can't work out why. The line straight into the depot. Why did they set back? Oh, was it a backing signal, Percy? But they did it to be confusing. Because that does sound rather odd that they did that if they didn't need to. Well, that bit certainly looks a lot smoother than it did during our rush job to get it painted so that it could sit for a nice photo last week. But I've got to go work tomorrow, so I'll say good night. Good night, Paderborn. Thank you for coming. Sleep well, enjoy work, and barbecue some boars if they plough your garden. I would. We are, of course, now showing why it was such a terrible idea to get this together for the sake of a photo when it still had filling that needed doing. But the photo was worth it. I regret nothing. No, hitting the camera with the file. I think we're mostly there. I certainly don't think we're going to need any more filler. Can't find any answers online, so the only theory I can come up with is that the loco ran round the train at Aldersgate and propelled it into the depot. No idea if that was the case. I mean, it's certainly possible. It is certainly possible. I can't think of any good reason they would have done it if the access was there. Other than that, as you say. So we now have a solid chassis since we left it for a bit. So if we start with this end here, we can begin building it up. But the bot wants you to remember that hydration is important. That does seem a plausible theory. Do you know what the internal track layout depot was like? Might infer how likely that theory was to be true from that. That's a very good point, James. Just reach stars left to do, and then pupils can return. Excellent. Excellent indeed. I'm sure the pupils will love hearing that, Simon. Yeah, James, that was one of the things that led me to the theory. Sounds like he's on to something. This carriage has been built before. And there's residue. No, don't all fall over. Gary, what glue are you using, please? O gauge, direct shape, kits, HA shape. I am only using Poundland super glue right now. I would usually advise using 2-part epoxy, which takes longer to set, or poly cement, depending on the type of plastic. Personally, Rachel. But yeah, this is just cheap Poundland super glue. Which, I mean, it can form a reasonable bond over time. But that time can sometimes be like weeks. Poly cement or 2-part epoxy, depending on the type of plastic, would be my way forward. What white metal to plastic? In that case, definitely 2-part epoxy for white metal to plastic. My favourite epoxy is 8-hour stuff, which is what I use for a lot of stuff I do. There's a lot of stuff I do on stream with super glue that I then take apart and do again with epoxy. These carriages are not one of those things. Because of course we don't want to be sitting around waiting for glue to dry for 8 hours on the live stream. But yeah, white metal to plastic, 2-part epoxy, something like araldite would be good for that. Prove of being onto something. The interior is a massive whack and turntables and hoist, meaning that likely wouldn't want a loco running through there. No, that's probably not if it was like that. Okay, it's all fallen into place. It is indeed. It's good, isn't it, James? You've just researched yourself some very interesting operations. He has. James, I've engaged double O gauge and O gauge layouts are excellent. I have double O gauge and 009 layouts and a couple of O gauge locos. Not a problem, Rachel, not a problem. People who are used to me pronouncing araldite wrong will notice I said it right when I was recommending it. Do say rice is spice of life, although I also quite like cinnamon. Very good, James. We have 2 sides and an end. Oh my god, I'm so stupid. It wasn't the white cross depot setback signals for, it's for the Smithfield Market sidings, bangs head on desk. We all make these mistakes, Alex, don't worry about it. New Cinnamon had some lovely cinnamon spiced honey on toast for breakfast yesterday. That does sound good. The only thing that would improve that would be if the toast was some from my homemade bread, because oh my god, is my bread good. Ah, yes. It has indeed slipped as it was drying. That's a better position. I think my glue's empty. Luckily, being the professional I am, I've got another one. To a very close and understandable confusion. See, Alex? Confusions happen. Of course, this is my last tub. My last pot of super glue. Which does mean I'll have to go and acquire some more from Poundland. And I've not been to Poundland since the before times. Yes, that's better. Much better. Approve of spare glue. Yeah, I always make sure to have at least one unopened pot. It allows me to do things like throwing it everywhere like that. Yes, but also that's pretty worse that I only found that out by rereading my old RM web thread, so someone had already told me that. That's fine, forgetfulness also happens, Alex. Also, you have an old RM web thread that still exists. I'm impressed. And there we go. It apparently wasn't deleted, who'd have thunk it. I kind of assumed everything was deleted. But look at that, it's a rake. This is how much progress I was planning on making tonight. It's a carriage, marriage, roof and body. Yeah. Well, we've got a rake. Where's P-Class? There's not one on the layout, is there? No, there's not one on... Yes, there is. It is number 178. Number 178, Nettle, and a rake of 4 Southeastern Railway carriages. Very nice rake, thank you. I approve of rakes and hoes and trowels. But thank you, James. Rake looks great. Harry, thank you, Simon. Huzzah for progress. Thank you, Alex. So, we've still got time. Let's get making more progress. We'll take the roof off that and leave it to dry. This one needs some more paint on the body. Where did I put these? Up here? Very nice. Thank you, Heritage Railway Productions. So we're going to get the Southeastern Carriage Crimson out, and we're going to not spill it this week. That is my task for this week, is to not spill this tin of paint. I will, of course, be taking bets on how long it will be until I spill this tin of paint. I've just remembered this whole carriage actually needs painting, doesn't it? It's only had one coat. One minute 30. Blue tack. 5 minutes. Someone type a donation whistle to go off just as Gary's about to pick up the paint. You're all so mean. I can't believe you have such little faith in me. Because I have all the faith, can't you tell? Thanks for the reminder about the blue tack, Alex. I don't know how well the difference in the shade shows up on camera, but up close at least you get a real difference from putting a second coat of this stuff on. It's a much deeper colour than it is with just one coat, and it's absolutely beautiful. Now, of course, the problem with the blue tack is if you forget that it's there, go to pick it up, pull harder, all of a sudden it liberates itself from blue tack. Do you not use an airbrush? I do have an airbrush, and I do use it for stuff that I'm not doing live. Currently, we are awaiting some building work, and then I will have all this moved into a proper modelling room, because I'm actually sat in my living room at the minute. So once this all moves out to its own room, which will be, well, it'll be set up as a recording studio, there will be a spray booth installed in there so that I can airbrush stuff that I'm doing live as well. So for the time being, if I'm doing it live, no, it's done with a brush. But in the future, it'll all be airbrushed. Good evening, GWR. How are you today? I hope you are well. I don't know how that's showing up on camera at that end there, but it is looking quite good in person. Right, there is the second, that coat of paint on there. Nothing wrong with hand painting. There is not indeed, Alex. You are quite right. Yes, you thank yourself. I am very well, thank you. You have just missed a moment where we unveiled this as its full 4-carriage rake a second ago. Well, the lid's back on now. Paint spill. That was what our command was going to be. That was the command I was going to set up last week, James. There's a lamp there. See, the blue tack system works. It does, Alex. It does. Now, interestingly, I know where that lamp is from. Conversely, knowing where it's from makes it more confusing. Well, that's daft. You forgot to set up the command and you failed to fill the paint. I know. It's odd, isn't it? It's not a random lamp, Alex. It is a lamp that was fitted to... Jesus, randomness. It's super effective. That lamp was fitted to the Peckett before I did any work to it. I lost this whilst doing the work on the Peckett. Quite how it's turned up in the middle of the workbench right now is what's confusing. I'll leave that one with you. Right, so we have two very, very shiny coaches here. They are way too shiny. So what they need is some matte varnish, which again needs to be brush painted. But I find this varnish works quite well when brushed on, personally. Well, there's a nice big... Was it? No, because the blue tack wasn't on the workbench at the time. And the blue tack itself actually hangs up here. I think I've just dropped the sheet the blue tack's actually on, but that is the other sheet. The blue tack just kind of hangs up. Oh yeah, I pulled it down. There's where it is now. But it just hangs up there, so it can't have been stuck to the blue tack. Because that A would have been up there, but B wasn't actually on the workbench at the time. It was holding stuff down on the 009 layout at the time. No, that's too far away from me. I can't see how much is in there. It's going to have to come closer. Because I need to see when I touch the varnish. No, I'm not using this brush. That's terrible. That brush is going in the bin. That's better. Perhaps it was in a coach having a rest. Maybe. I wonder if I owned any of these coaches at that time. It's certainly very strange, whatever happened. I forgot I'd put transfers on both sides of this. Because I had certainly considered using the cheat that I've used on the Brighton ones in the background and only putting transfers on one side. I have already done that end, I think. I think I have. If I haven't, it'll just look glossy for a bit and I'll have to do it again. It's not the end of the world, is it? And so once these two coaches have received this final layer of varnish, all they will need is glazing, and then they can have their roofs stuck on, and they're done. We are very close to the final straight. Like, I've only done one side of this one, and it's going to stay like that just because of the number of transfers I have. I am not sure I will have enough to extend out to the 6 coach rake that I want if I do both sides. And as my layouts are end-to-end layouts, it won't matter. So, meh. Just watched it back. I think it came off the bottom of the bottle of brush cleaner. Ah, interesting. Thank you, Simon. Good to have a detective amongst us. That is very interesting. Must have got knocked off the back of the sheet of glass when I was working. And these thinners have been out loads of times since then. And so it's obviously just been sat at the back there and then eventually got pulled out today. Right, this carriage is now nice and solid, so I think what we want to do is get some compartment dividers in it. So to get those, we take our template here. That's not supposed to happen. And there is the chatbot calling for some more likes. Do remember, if you haven't already, to smash that like button. And whilst you're down there, subscribe and ring the notification bell if you haven't already, so you get alerted whenever I go live or upload a video. And if you haven't enjoyed what you've seen tonight, now is the time where you can smash that dislike button. But remember, once the stream finishes and you can leave comments on it, do leave a comment telling me why you have smashed that dislike button and what I could do to improve your stay here at Oak Hill Works. So we'll take our template again and mark out the height. We then need to cut off the top corners and also the bottom corners, but they need to be much taller cuts. And I will show you why, for those that don't know. It is of course because in here we have this strip here and this strip here, which are holding our ends, holding the sides together. But then, with that done, we have a divider. It was bugging, I'll tell you, it was bugging me as well actually, so I'm really glad you did go back and check. I shall reattach it to the packet after the end of the stream. I've got it sat in my parts, one of my many spare parts boxes at the moment though, so it doesn't go missing. See what I'm doing now. Now we add a touch more glue on there. And we only need to get one more divider in, and that is the coach body done. And it will leave us with what I'm going to call a very successful result. I think it looks great. Thank you, GWR. And there we are. With still 10 minutes to go. We have the final bit glued in. We've got 10 minutes to go. You know what we're going to do, don't you? Because I'm going to need to pose a photo at the end of this stream. So we're going to get the paint back out. I know it needs filler, but we dealt with that okay tonight. Still chance for paint spill. We're not going to be paint spilling. Quite pleased, managed to find a photograph collection of Aberystwyth Station in the 60s. It's got the signal box, engine shed, goods yard. Good for excellent. That does sound like a good find. Always nice when you manage to find these things, isn't it? Especially if you do something I like to call finding them in time, which I only just did for one of the buildings for my Hailsham layout. I had made all the mock-ups, had all the drawings basically finished, just a couple of edits to do on them before sending them off to be laser cut for the proper buildings. When I found a photo of a building I had really struggled with any actual details of, and it showed me that I had got it all wrong. So luckily I found that in time. It still needs redrawing. But when it gets done, it means the layout will be that bit more accurate. My overriding memory of Aberystwyth Station is waiting on a dark, rainy platform for my train, which was 2 hours late. Well, if you will go to Wales. I jest, of course. Someone say laser cutting. I did. You are indeed the laser cutter I was talking about, Linny. At least I got to see a VOR PW train arrive. Oh, that's quite cool. Yes, trying to scratch build for the Aberystwyth signal box with only poor quality pictures. I'd found these. Excellent. Apparently, Aretha 158 don't like rain. And there we go. We have some paint on it. I did not expect to get this far tonight. And I've not spilt the paint. It is sealed again. Linny says something in Welsh that contains the word Wales. I know that one. Luckily, they're replaced by Transport for Wales one's just a respray. I don't think I know the Transport for Wales livery. I knew it existed as a thing, but I don't think I know the livery. That's missed the paint spill window. You did. And we have 5 minutes still. My gosh. Haven't we done well? I certainly think so. Don't punch the camera, Gary. I'm actually going to move the background train out the way. Don't punch the camera again, Gary. That wasn't actually the camera, it was the boom arm that time. Don't punch the boom arm, Gary. I'm a super pro tonight, aren't I? He streamed it at least. Well, I must know it then. To be fair, Alex, your live streams are probably the reason I know it exists. Don't want to go that way, really. I want to go this way. A little bit more. There we are. We have a train. Dear me, you punched the camera and yet failed to spill the paint. Indeed, or knock the roof off the ivory. I know, it's been a while since I've dropped a roof, hasn't it? Said, why don't you like Wales? And now Every Station mentions that they can speak Welsh. I do like Wales. Wales is awesome, actually. Mostly white with red doors saying, "Ah, yes, I remember it now, Alex. Approve of Wales. Hello, Toy Man. You join us just a couple of minutes before the end. Well, we have just finally put together a rake of 4 Southeastern and Chatham bird cages for the first time. Everyone should approve of Wales. And what a splendid pose. It is brilliant, isn't it, James? I'm very happy right now. There are many bits of the north of Wales which I intend to visit. So do I eventually. Approve of having trains. Thank you, James. So do I. Having trains is the best type of trains. That almost works. Huzzah for Rake. Good evening. And there is a link to my Twitter account. They look great. Thank you, Toyman. You're, I say. Well, I'm not going to try and do an accent, Javier, don't worry. Just coming to the end of the stream. Perfect time to smash that like button, says Linny, and I quite agree it is the perfect time to smash the like button. Smash the like for the full Rake. Because we did it. I actually put something clickbaity in and followed through on it. That deserves a like. I'd also like to remind everyone, as we are now 1 minute to midnight, hydration is important. Why so smashy? Because of the excitement caused by me following through on a clickbait. I'm sure if delivery has a name, but back in 2018 when delivery was new, I gave it the name White with Red Band. If it works, it works. Great progress as always, dude. Thank you, Alex. Pumpkin pea Batesville brick. You need your last tour, have you? One can respond to excitement by gentle pressing. Okay, James. But there we go. Like that, we have. No, smash the kittens. Smashing kittens is bad. Kittens like nice, gentle pets. Not if I have anything to say about it. Right, so, yes. It is midnight. We have a full rake of four-wheel bird cages. If I just turn that there, so we're focusing more on the bird cages than the loco. I would like to say thank you to all for coming. I have had a great time. We have built the fourth coach. We have corrected bits on the first one, and we've got the final layer of varnish on the middle two. Improve gently petting fluffy kittens. Indeed, James, indeed. Night, good night. Oh, that's brilliant. Nice rake. Thank you, Simon. So, yes, good night, everyone. We are at the end. So, all that's left for me to say is I have been Gary, this has been Let's Build, and you have been awesome as always. Good night, and thank you for coming.